Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
It should be noted that Welcome to Night Vale is not a creation of my own. I am simply sharing my thoughts and comments on a podcast that I enjoy. Thank you, and please have a nice day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing alright. I hope everyone's doing okay. And I hope the universe is treating you fairly. We are heading back into Night Vale in this video. So, buckle up and get ready for lots of laughs.
No one has seen the trees this week. Hopefully they'll come back soon. Welcome to Night Vale.
That is not something somebody in East Texas will ever see. And if they do not see the trees, if they do see not seeing the trees, they won't hope for them to come back. Trust me, we have pines running out our backsides. And yeah, so.
Hello, listeners. Nothing much to say about this day in Night Vale. Today is just a lazy day in our beautiful little town. The heat is unusually strong for this time of year, assuming you believe in concepts like time and year.
You know, some people do, some people don't. Some people are crazy, some people are insane, you know. It's kind of a mixed bag out there.
And unusual. Flies are buzzing around and around a trash can somewhere. Francis Donaldson, manager of the Antiques Mall, is waving listlessly at a wall of old items ready to be bought anew. Her hand, a slow signal of submission to inactivity.
Hey, you know, I think we're all guilty of that at some point or another.
The faceless old woman who secretly lives in your home is finding herself clicking the same apiology website she's read 1,000,000 times.
Hey, I have websites out in the world that I've read 1,000,000 times.
I myself am slumped against this desk, murmuring into this microphone, too tired by the heat to give more than a token effort to...
You know, he says that, but most of what I do is murmuring into this microphone. So, you know, he's doing a whole lot better job. Either A, he's just really humble about his skills as a talker, a professional speaker, or I'm just really, really that bad.
The work of my life. Ours is a quiet now. No one is speaking but me. If speaking took me any energy, if it were not merely a reflex of my living form.
You know, that's got, you've got to look at that philosophically, that, you know, do we expend energy and effort to talk? I know there are times I expend a whole lot of energy not to talk, because what I would have to say would be really, really bad. But to actually verbalize things, or is it just part of being human?
Then I myself would not be speaking either. Carlos, perfectly imperfect Carlos, is the only one feeling industrious today. He's mowing the lawn and whistling, and the lawn is whistling back.
Yeah, probably not a good thing.
And now, the news, I guess.
I've had days like this. Actually, in Texas, we call those summer.
Alert citizens from all over Night Vale are reporting a man in a tan jacket standing behind the Taco Bell, near the dumpster, and the constantly ringing payphone. He is plucking insects out of the air and stuffing them into his deerskin suitcase. Alert citizens report that they don't remember what his nimble hands look like, and many of them lost track of what they were saying mid-sentence.
I do that all the time. It's called, I think that's just a negative result of sobriety.
Lapsing into a gaped-mouth silence. All of them received one stamp on their Alert Citizen card. As always...
Yay! 10 stamps, you get a free something. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
5 stamps means stop sign immunity for a year.
Ooh.
Also, congratulations to Jake Garcia, who has completely filled up 3 Alert Citizen cards.
Wow, stop sign immunity for 3 years. And he's one big old snitch.
Thus giving him the mandatory right to disappear forever.
Yeah, that's what snitches get.
His entire family, in a statement given in monotone unison, said that they were proud and that they didn't miss him much. Really. Remember what secret police mascot Barks Ennui always says: "Citizens, be alert, but not too alert. There is much that you should not see. Only you can prevent your own house mysteriously catching on fire."
Wow, that's the funny part about that is we had a bunch of, back in the 1990s, we had a bunch in Huntsville. There was a bunch of businesses that were owned by one family that for about 2-3 years just like mysteriously caught fire, and the fire inspector couldn't determine how they caught on fire. That was very interesting.
Woof woof. Oh, I bet Barks is such a cute little cartoon dog. Maybe someday the secret police will declassify what he looks like. Update on the summer reading program from a couple of months ago.
Uh-oh.
Those children who made it out of the library alive, bloodied, covered in the guts of librarians, and clutching reading lists far in advance of their grade level, have formed an organized militia under the leadership of fellow survivor 12-year-old Tamika Flynn.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, Tamika Flynn becomes a fairly prominent character for a while here in the near-ish future.
They have taken to conducting drills out in the sand wastes. Hundreds of children shouting and moving in unison as Tamika stands over them on a hilltop, watching for their weakness, encouraging their strength. Tamika has taken to wearing the detached hand of a librarian around her neck.
You know, that's interesting. Like I said, I wonder how my goddaughter, who is a librarian, would what her thoughts on this would be.
As a warning to any who would dare face her, that she has already defeated the most fearsome creature imaginable. When reached for comment, Tamika said, "We do not look around. We do not look inside. We do not sleep. Our God is not a smiling God, and we are ready for this war."
That sounds like about most Gen X kids at 12 years old, 11, 12, 13, maybe 14 years old. That was pretty much our mantra.
When asked to clarify, she challenged our reporter to 100 days of hand-to-hand combat, which our reporter declined, by running away screaming, pursued by hundreds of battle-hardened children.
Yeah, I'd run too, I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's still just a lazy day here in Night Vale. Mayor Pamela Winchell called a press conference and then did not speak. She sat on a folding chair next to the podium, her head lolled back, taking a brief nap, before getting up and jumping, folding chair in hand, through a small glowing portal she created in mid-air. All of this would have been quite rude to the attending reporters if a single one of them had actually attended.
Yeah, woof, I gotta kind of laugh there just because think about it. If an elected, say, governor, mayor, president, whoever was going to have a press conference and got everything ready for the press conference and walked out, and no journalists were there to cover it, they're like, we're not going to be a part of this. I wonder how that would play out in real life.
But they called a press conference of their own to announce that they were just going to take the rest of the day off, if that was okay. That the still afternoon sunlight was somehow more conducive to a gentle rest than the dark cradle of night.
I could go for that. I worked night shift for like 10 years when I worked in penitentiary. So yeah, I can sympathize with that.
No one showed up to that press conference either. Carlos has vacuumed his living room and is now organizing his closets. He's holding up items and making decisions.
I don't do that really well. When I clean out like closets and stuff like that, I have to have my wife with me, because if I don't, I will save everything. And I do mean everything. Everything.
He is humming. The grass cannot hum, and so is silent.
But the grass can whistle. I think if my grass whistled, I think that would bother me a lot.
The vague yet menacing government agency would like to remind you that UFOs are totally not a thing. They remind you that UFOs are merely weather balloons. And further, that weather balloons are merely misplaced clouds. That clouds...
You know, there is a time, not that long ago, probably about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, in which this was just super funny. Now, in this day and age, over the last 10 years, I could honestly see a spokesperson for the White House coming out and saying those exact same words.
Are merely dreams that have escaped our sleep. That sleep is merely a practice for death. That death is merely another facet of our world, no different from, say, sand or bicycles. And that the great glowing earth is merely the last thoughts of a dying man, laughing and shaking his head weakly at the improbability of it all. Remember, it's not just the law, it's an illusion.
Like I said, I can see somebody in probably the next 20 or 30 years to come, I could honestly see somebody coming out of the White House to speak to the press over something and saying that exact same line of that same thing about the clouds and dreams and life and a dying man. Yeah, I can see that happening. That's pretty sad.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and you know what that means. It means it's time for us to go groveling to the brown stone spire, thanking it for all that it has done and all that it has mercifully not done. This is just a great time to get the family together, eat your fill, then crawl out through the sharp rocks and sand until your knees leave blood streaks on the barren earth.
Yay!
And you feel the brownstone spire loom up before you. But you dare not look. You dare not look. Thank you, you whisper. Thank you, thank you. More plea than prayer. More.
Yeah, I can see that becoming a real thing here real soon in America, too.
More fear than gratitude. And if it accepts what you have to say, you and your family can return to your homes. Shaking, safe, together. Shaking, together. And if it does not accept what you say,
oopsie!
It doesn't really matter what happens after that, does it? I mean, would knowing make it any easier? No. Knowing never does. The brown stone spire. Give thanks. Cry out thanks. Scream thanks.
Soil yourself, thanks.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Uh-oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. I love these. I mean, there's probably normal people out in the world that don't find these near as funny as I do. But, these are great. I love these in-universe advertisements.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Costco. How much could a body even weigh? In addition, today's broadcast is brought to you by waves of sound that are somehow carried by a form of light, and that a machine is turning into an invisible man talking to you.
Yeah, it is.
Intimately, quietly, into your ear. That doesn't seem natural to us.
It might be.
StrexCorp, Synernists, Inc. Distrust all that you previously trusted. This day in which nothing happens continues to not.
Happen, that
Even
is.
Even bodily functions are taking the day off.
Yeah, that's... I don't know what to think about that one now, kids.
Reports are coming in that hearts are failing to beat, lungs failing to inflate, the muscles of the arms and legs turning to a loose, relaxed jelly. People are falling dead in the street.
Now, I can honestly say that, the whole muscles turning into a soft goop jelly, well, that just, if you're copulating correctly, you and your partner, that's how you feel afterward.
Suddenly blue, suddenly seizing, spit dribbling from their lips in tiny pools of foam and mud in the sand. Loved ones looking on without the energy needed to weep. Just nothing much of any kind going on. A lazy, lazy day. Our favorite local cereal company, Flakios.
Uh-oh, Flakios. Wouldn't be a Frosted Flakes knockoff, would it?
Is gearing up to announce their newest big product, Imaginary Cornflakes.
Hey, they're probably making from the imaginary corn.
The cereal chefs down at Flakio's are taking only the sweetest, most non-carcinogenic cobs of imaginary corn supplied by John Peters,
There we go.
the farmer. They are distilling that imaginary taste down to a crisp, flavor-packed imaginary corn flake, ready for you to eat out of a big bowl of milk.
Yeah, I imagine if they had imaginary milk, it would go real good. It would taste really good with imaginary milk.
We are very excited about this product, said Miranda Yesby of the new Flakio's board of directors. We are thrilled to be working with John Peters, you know, the farmer. I mean, as soon as we can find him. Has anyone seen him? He's become as hard to locate as is corn. Miranda also said that there are no plans to do viral marketing involving a sentient, trans-dimensional pyramid.
You know, that's good to let the customer base know these things.
As the costs on that last one were just too high. I mean, we had nothing to do with that, she said. But if we did, then we might say a certain sentient pyramid really got an outsized ego after one simple viral marketing campaign.
Sometimes shit happens.
And started making unreasonable demands, like a trans-dimensional trailer on location that is normal-sized on the outside, but contains within it vast looming spaces. Impossible.
A TARDIS trailer.
Endless. Also health benefits. So if that were the case, we would probably have had to let the sentient pyramid go. Miranda then thanked us for attending the announcement and dug her way back into the Flakio's offices using her large, claw-like paws.
Yeah, there's a lot of spokespeople. Hell, I think most of the PR people for government agencies within Texas have large claws that they dig through things with.
And now, traffic. A few drops of ice melt, almost invisible as they slide down great slabs of mountain rock, joining together into a slight trickle, the mere suggestion of movement and water. That suggestion becoming more clear water, clearly moving in a clear trickle downwards, forming with others into a stream rolling over pebbles and around debris, hardly any force behind it, but implacable in its searching out of lower ground. And then, gasping from some...
Yeah. Didn't mean to do that. I mean, I dropped it, or I almost dropped it twice, so third time's a charm. Let's see if we can keep a hold of the this other stick.
Height as a splash into a river. A deep river churning its way through a landscape, drawing boundaries over which wars can later be fought.
Hey, it's a really interesting observation.
Against boulders with violence, but without malice. Becoming wider, slower, like a human settling into the better part of age. A river that only shows evidence of movement when it carries some other thing, some life, upon it.
Hey, you gotta have water like that, I guess. It's kind of important.
Like a human settling into the better part of age. And finally, one last exit. A great engulfing by an ocean in which all water is the same water, in which we can finally find some rest.
friend of mine, or not really a friend of mine, a coworker, a guy I got along with real well when I worked in penitentiary, he had the single that all water is one drop. Regardless if it's an ocean, a river, a lake, a cup of water, a very small, tiny drop that comes out, that regardless, when water is all together, it is one drop. You can break it down into multiple drops and make them large drops or small drops, but essentially it's all one drop. Which was, I mean, he was taking a philosophy course up at Sam Houston at the time, so yeah, it was one of those things.
Like a human settling into the better. Like a human settling. This has been Traffic. And the lazy day continues. A neon sign advertising the world's best burgers blinks uselessly in the glaring haze of the sun. Its light as small as the probability of its claim.
Yeah, like I said, that's just another summer day in Texas.
The Earth is starting to slow its rotation, joining in on the mass malaise. Magnetic fields are going crazy.
Actually, talking about the slowing down of the Earth's rotation, I think it is either in Japan or China. They built a dam so big and it restrained so much water that it actually slowed the Earth's rotation by a couple of seconds, which, you know, that's kind of cool. Kind of scary, but kind of cool.
They are the only things going crazy. Everything else is completely mellowed out. Those people with still functioning hearts and lungs are lounging around, saying, Oh, who cares? And what a bother, when presented with stimulus or thought.
Hey, I know people like that are like that 24/7, 365, so you know.
The Earth is slowing. Gravity is slacking off. My mic is floating. Carlos is also floating.
Sounds like Cecil had some particularly flavorful mushrooms before he started work.
And he's taking this opportunity to clean out the gutter on his roof. How industrious. How... I don't really have the energy to think of another word. Radio waves are reacting strangely to the loss of gravity. The change in...
I'm not sure. I imagine radio waves would. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
magnetism as the Earth slows. So if you are having difficulty receiving this message, we apologize, but won't do anything about it.
That sounds like the American corporate model.
Doing things, right? Movement, you know? Existing? Do you see what I mean? Oh, what's that? Intern Maureen is flicking her eyes up in her otherwise motionless face.
Ah, Maureen, another intern for the for those people playing Night Vale intern bingo.
Her mouth is set into a deep lull. Her cheeks are slack. I believe she is indicating something. I suppose I should turn my head and look. I suppose. Oh, all right. Here I go. Listeners, I am engaging the muscles in my neck and I am turning my head. Ah, I see. The sun.
I just love that description of I'm engaging muscles, turning head now. You know, it's kind of cool.
Is going out. Yes, a black tumor of darkness, of absence, is on the face of the brightness. The brightness is dimming. The source of all life is going, is joining the rest of us in taking today to do nothing. That's probably not good.
He's got a point there.
We should probably do something about that. But it's like, well, anyway, at least I got to see how Breaking Bad ended.
Ooh, that was particularly good. I just love the way how we're just kind of chill and you know, just got that whole, you know, that whole lazy take the day off kind of chill thing going, and then we throw in Breaking Bad.
And now I don't so much take you as just kind of leave you. Just kind of disappear and gently nudge you towards, in the heart of a world that soon won't be, the weather.
Okay, we take our break for the weather. We do this, have to do it because the weather is an all music segment. And the algorithm gets really weird about music, the copyright algorithm. And it's really good music, though. I implore you to go find Night Vale on your own, listen to it without my commentary, and enjoy the weather. Enjoy the different musics. The different bands and stuff most of them are on Bandcamp. I mean, you can cross-reference them and I've come across some really fantastic music that they've done in the weather. So, some groups that produce some very fantastic music. So, until we rejoin after the weather. Okay, okay, we are back from the weather. So, yeah, this is an interesting episode. I've been enjoying this. So, let's, without further ado, get back into it.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I guess, from a crisis. Welcome back from, I guess, a crisis. How was it solved? How was the day saved? It wasn't. It didn't need to be. There are lulls and gaps and rests
Everywhere, you know, we all have them. Now, sometimes we have them collectively, sometimes we have them individually.
and stops. But this world stumbles on. The sun flared back. The world restarted. Still bodies, blue in the gray street, gasped suddenly and rose back into the blue-gray light of day. We wake up. We move on. No state is our state forever. All is fleeting. Frances Donaldson, manager of the Antiques Mall, has gone back to violently smashing her stock of old items, as is usual. The faceless old woman who secretly lives in your home has gone back to flitting around in the corner of your eye, rearranging your belongings according to some unknown purpose.
Yes. And yeah, she does my stuff all the time. Just letting you know that.
The flies are still buzzing around that trash can, but with more verve, more zest. Intern Maureen brought me some coffee.
Sounds like good coffee to me.
Yeah, that's helping. Coffee helps sometimes, though, doesn't it? Other times, it just makes things worse. I mean, everything does. Business is booming, people are moving, events transpiring. All as usual, all returning. We are up. We are full of energy. We are ready for the next great thing to be made.
Yes, we are.
For us and delivered to us and done to us. Carlos, meanwhile, says he's had a busy day and might take a nap now.
Yeah, I imagine after floating around and cleaning gutters and mowing and humming and whistling.
That sounds nice. Listeners, I think now is the time at which I must say goodbye. There's a place here in Night Vale, a place I'd like to be just now. Maybe my lazy day isn't quite done after all.
Maybe him and Carlos will have a vigorous night.
Stay tuned next for a keening howl, a scratch at the door, a hood falling suddenly over your face, and a delicious roasted squash recipe your family will just love. Good night, Night Vale. Good night.
Well, that was an enjoyable episode. Thank everyone for listening. Thank all my subscribers, all at the time of recording, all 111 of you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching the videos. And thank you for leaving comments. And until next time, remember, be a good human, be good to other humans, and peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?